What's up, snappers? Welcome back to the channel. DDDREWSKY here. Today we're gonna be looking at the brand new card, Peni Parker, to see if she's worth your precious resources. We're gonna be looking at her key Synergies Counters and some decks that I brewed for her. But wait, before we do that, please like the video, please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to reach 1,000 subs. We're very close. I do weekly reviews of the brand new card in Marvel Snap, so you do not want to miss out. Hit that notification bell right now. Now let's get back into it. So now the question is, who is Peni Parker? Let's take a look. So Peni Parker in Marvel Snap is a 2-cost, 3-powered card with the on-reveal ability of add Spider to your hand. When this merges, you get +1 energy next turn. So the Spider is a 3-cost, 3-powered card with the on-reveal ability to merge with one of your cards here, and you move that card next turn. So I believe she's a very good utility card. She can do a jack of all trades, add power. You can move that card and you get energy as well. Does a lot of abilities for a 2-cost card, which is great in Marvel Snap. All right, now let's take a look at some of the pros and cons about Peni Parker. Let's take a look. So the first pro about her is that it's a very low cost with multiple abilities. Add power with the Spider Bot. You can move the card after it's merged with the Spider Bot, and you get energy with Peni Parker. Another great pro about her is that she gives you energy on the next turn, and it gives you Spider in your hand, and you can decide on what you want to do with the Spider, right? It's a lot of flexibility with your hand. Another pro about her is that the Spider can reach bad locations, right? You know, for example, Sanctum Sanctorum, you can add, Spider to one of your cards, and then you can move that card over to a bad location. Spider saves board space, right? So maybe if you're facing a potential Clog meta, then Spider would be great against Clog. It will consolidate, 2 cards, which is great, and it'll save you board space, right? So now let's talk about the cons about Peni Parker. So effectively, she's a 5-cost card with the Spider. I know that she does give energy for the next turn, but essentially it's a 5-cost card, right? The Spider and including her. So another con about her is that you can't move the merge card on turn 6, right? But if you have a turn 7, then you could potentially move that card. So another bad thing about Peni Parker and the Spider is location variance. Again, it really depends on what locations you got on the board, right? So another con about her is that it can be countered pretty well, right? The Spider is a little bit predictable. But yeah, there are ways to counter her and the Spider. All right, so now let's take a look at some of the key synergies and counters for Peni Parker. Let's take a look. So the first synergy that I want to talk about is Human Torch. So Spider can give more movement to Human Torch. If you attach Spider onto Human Torch, then you can move Human Torch again, and he gains power from Spider, which is awesome. Another synergy is Miles Morales. Of course, the movement with the Spider will discount Miles Morales to a 1-cost, which is insane. Another synergy is Captain Marvel. You can attach Spider onto Captain Marvel, and she's effectively a 4/8, right? Which is crazy. Now let's talk about the counters for Peni. Of course, she's an on reveal, so Cosmo is a great counter to Peni Parker. So Shadow King's another great counter for Spider, specifically because Spider's adding power to the card that it attaches to. So Master Mold is a spicy pick. Of course, Spider gets added to your hand, right? If the opponent adds more Sentinels to your hand, then it could flood your hand. So be careful with cards that potentially can clog your hand, especially when you have Spider in your hand. All right, now let's take a look at some of the decks that I brewed. I think they're pretty fun and competitive. Let's take a look. So the first deck that we have is called Bouncing Peni Movers. So the ideal goal of this list is to generate a lot of power, move your cards, bounce them back, and then counter them with Goliath. For turn 1, you could do Human Torch or Iron Fist. They are great on curve. So for turn 2, you can set up Madam Web on a lane and then set up either Dagger or Human Torch on her lane. Doctor Strange is great to move Human Torch or Dagger on turn 2 or even later turns. Falcon is also great to pick up any of the low-cost cards like Human Torch, Iron Fist, or Ghost Spider, and then just repeat the process. Peni Parker is great on curve and in this list because she generates more power for Human Torch or Dagger or Vulture, and then you're able to move them again. So she's another move enabler, so she's great in this list. Cosmo is great to protect any of the big cards after you generate all that power. You do not want to waste any of your time getting countered, so Cosmo is great to protect any of the big cards like Torch, Dagger, or Vulture. Those are like the main power generators. Beast is another great card to bounce your cards back and to repeat the process all over again. So for turn 6, Goliath is great as a finisher, especially if you are winning that lane and you want to guarantee you win that lane. Make sure you run Goliath in that lane. So now let's take a look at my second list. So this list is called Tiny Penny Movers. So the ideal goal of this list is to generate a lot of power with our small cost cards, disrupt your opponent by countering them. So for turn 1, Kitty Pryde, Silver Sable are great picks for turn 1. So for turn 2, you could do either Angela or Athena. Angela will take priority over Athena. Athena is great to pair up with Kitty Pryde after turn 3 and just keep generating that power. Peni Parker is great on curve here as well. She enables this deck tremendously. You could juice up Kitty Pryde, you could juice up Athena, Captain Marvel. There's a lot of cards that Peni Parker and the Spider can generate power with. Juggernaut is great for the last few turns because you're going to disrupt your opponent. They're not going to know where their last cards have been played. So I would definitely save Juggernaut for the later turns. Hope Summers is great in this list to generate energy, especially if you want to throw down more and more cards on the board. She's great for that. So Nocturne is great in this list, especially being able to get power from Spider. You can attach the Spider onto Nocturne and then change the location, which is awesome. Shang-Chi is great, of course, near the end of the turns. You want to counter the big card, Shang-Chi is your answer. Captain Marvel is great as well because you can attach the Spider to her. Effectively a 4/8, which is insane, and she'll go to the lane that will win you the game. Galactica is great in this list as well. Brand new season pass card. She can juice up any of the cards here, like Kitty Pryde or even the Spider. So for Galacta, she is great in this list to power up cards like Kitty Pryde, Nocturne, Captain Marvel. Those cards love extra power. So Gwenpool is a great alternative line if you don't have Galacta in your hand. You can run Gwenpool instead, and she'll juice up more power for this deck. So now let's look at my third and final list. So this list is called Toxic Penny Movers. So this is my take on the Toxic Movement deck. So the ideal goal of this deck is to move your opponent's cards, move your own cards, and benefit from all the movement. So for turn 1, Kingpin and Hydra Bob are great picks to play on curve. So for turn 2, Peni Parker is great to play on curve, especially to set up Spider in your hand. And then you could use the Spider whenever you want. So Scream is great on curve as well, just to set up that lane to start moving your opponent's cards. So for Juggernaut, you definitely want to save for the later turns. Polaris is great to just start moving your opponent's cards. She has great synergy with Scream. Spider-Man is another great pick for Scream as well, and for Kraven. So you want to make sure to move those cards either to the Kraven lane or Kingpin lane. Miles Morales gets synergy value with all the movement that's happening, so more than likely easy one cost for Miles Morales. Stegron is a great card just to counter the opponent, and especially synergy with Kraven, Kingpin, and Scream, and it obviously disrupts your opponent. Arrow is great as a disruption card on turn 5, especially, you know, if they have a strong turn 5 play, then she could definitely counter that. Magneto is a great finisher, especially in this meta where there's a lot of 3 and 4 cost cards. You can definitely disrupt them. You could definitely play him on a Kingpin lane or Kraven lane. All right, now let's take a look at the spotlights that are featured with Peni Parker. Let's take a look. So Peni Parker is with Gladiator and Sasquatch. Peni Parker is a Series 5, Gladiator is a Series 4, and Sasquatch is Series 4. So I would say Gladiator and Sasquatch, unfortunately, they're not very meta relevant. I would say they are definitely worth passing. Gladiator is good if you want high value of the power in at 3 costs. He's good, but other than that, like, the downside of him is pretty bad. If you have Fenris, I think Gladiator is worth picking up, but other than that, I think he's definitely passable. Sasquatch was good before, especially in a meta where you're flooding the board. I think Sasquatch has value there, but Sasquatch, if you like power, then sure, you can go get Sasquatch, but other than that, Sasquatch hasn't been really in a lot of decks, in my opinion. So for the Spotlight variants, I think Peni Parker looks great, straight ripped from Marvel Rivals, looks awesome, you know, showing Spider there as well. So Gladiator looks awesome. He has the beam coming from his eyes, and he looks very menacing, and he looks kind of like Superman, right? Sasquatch, I think, is definitely passable. I'm not huge into the brown color. I like more of the white color from the base art, so this Sasquatch is not really speaking my language. If you like it, then totally go for it. But remember, whenever you're opening, make sure you have 4 keys so you do not regret on missing out on a brand new card. All right, now let's take a look at my star ratings for Peni Parker and the Spider. Let's take a look. So I give them a 3.5 stars on competitive. I think the ability of the Spider is really competitive, but for them to be essentially a 5 cost card, it kind of gives me doubts, but having that energy is kind of nice, especially having the spider in your hand. So for fun, I give them 4 stars. I think being able to add power, move that card around is really fun. I think getting that energy is great as well, right? For flexibility, I give them 3 stars. I think eventually they'll find a home on, you know, what's the best use of that spider, right? For future changes, I gave them 1.5 stars. I don't really see them really changing the card much. I think it's pretty fair and well balanced, especially getting that energy and being able to play the spider. So for future changes, I gave them 1.5 stars. I don't really see the card being really changed much. I think that it's pretty well balanced, and I don't think, you know, secondary will really change the card much. All right, now let's take a look at my final review of Peni Parker and the spider. Are they worth a snap or skip? Let's take a look. So I say snap on Peni Parker and the spider. I think they're really cool. I love the ability of the spider, especially gaining power, being able to move that card around. I love the potential of this card. Giving out energy is great. I just think that she's flexible enough to be a really fun card in Marvel Snap. I don't think anyone will be against using any of these abilities. So I think this card is definitely worth a snap. Let me know your thoughts on Peni Parker and the spider. Did I miss any synergies? Did I miss any counters? Did I miss any decks? What will you be running with Peni Parker and the spider? Let me know in the comments below. And if you haven't yet, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to reach 1,000 subs. We're so close. I would love for you to be a part of it. And I will see you guys on the next Snapper Skip. Happy snapping.